from the letter of St. James. Here is the answer for those of you who talk like this. Today, tomorrow, we are off to this or that town. We are going to spend a year there, trading and make some money. You never know what will happen tomorrow. You are no more than a mist that is here for a little while and then disappears. The most you should ever say is, if it is the Lord's will, we shall still be alive to do this or that. But how proud and sure of yourselves you are now. Pride of this kind is always wicked. Everyone who knows what is the right thing to do and doesn't do it commits a sin. The word of the Lord.
My dear brothers and sisters in Christ, I'll base my reflection this morning on, again, the letter of St. James, because I love this letter so much. And just to see how easy all of us are guilty of what James is talking about. And just for a moment, think of how he starts his letter. Here is the answer for those of you who talk like this. And how do we talk? Today or tomorrow? Today or tomorrow we are off to this place or to this town or to do this business or to do that other one. And next year we are going to do that and do that. And all of us are victims of this. Even here in the Formation House, we are already making plans for next week and for the next month and for the next formation year. And all of us always make plans ahead. But this is what St. James is talking about. And he says that, how do you know you're going to even see tomorrow? And it makes us to know how fragile our lives can be. How fragile what we have been given is not all really our right to live, but we are just custodians of this life. I remember when we were still in Cameroon, my mother used to have a friend who was living outside the town. But then, out of a sudden, the husband of this her friend died. And she was forced to come back home with her family. But then the husband didn't have a home at home, where they were in the place where we were staying. So she brought a box to our home after the funeral of the husband. And she told my mother, can you just keep this for safety, for safekeeping really? And I will get it whenever I am ready to get it. So she didn't say the time frame, but she gave us this box. And they were all full of movies, different movies. They used to have these cassettes when they were still using the VHS, if you still remember that. And they had all this box of all these cassettes. And she gave it to my mother. She said, please, just keep it. I'm going to get it whenever. So she gave us that, and she told us, you can use it, but I'm going to get it whenever. We didn't know whenever, what it means. She could get it today or tomorrow or whenever. So my mother really cautioned us, just make sure you don't, if you take anything, any cassette from this box, make sure you return it immediately, because we do not know when she is going to take it. So she just kept it for safekeeping. Just keep it safely for me. And I thought about this and just thought for a moment that maybe our lives are just like that. We are just custodians, just for safekeeping. And when I read the diary of Saint Faustina, one of the catching moments for me was what she talks about our life. And it says that many people have taken so much life for granted that she saw a vision, and she saw many people just moving and many people not knowing, Others are just having their own time and they don't think about anything. And just right in front of them is a big cliff. And many people have just fallen into that cliff. Many people falling into that cliff. It's a very frightening image for me, but I think it's a real image, because one thing that we take for granted is that we do not know the time. We do not know the time. We never knew the time this woman would ever come to ask for her goods or for her property. We do not know the time our lives will be taken away from us. We do not know the time we are going to die. We do not know it. This is what Matthew talks about in his gospel. Be ready, because you do not know the day nor the hour. And since James emphasizes this, and he says our lives is just like a mist that rises up in the morning and then in the evening it disappears. Again, I used the image of fireworks recently last time. And fireworks, they are very beautiful, but you can't just hang on them, because it comes out beautifully, people are very happy, and then it disappears. I also have in my room this, it's a very funny thing, but I have these bubbles that children use, bubbles. I really love that, because we used to make a local one in the village, because we didn't have all these ones ready-made that you could make. So we used to put some soap in water, and then you use this pipe of a ball pen, and then you put a little bit of soap in it, and then you blow it, and the one comes out, and all the children are chasing it. So when I came in the Philippines, and I realized you can buy that and really get a number of bubbles. So I have a big sword, which is in my room, hanging there. So when I put on the fan, then I put the bubbles there, and it's all full in the room, and I'm so happy with that. So when I see that, it's really beautiful to see that, but that also disappears very fast. It comes up, it looks so very, very beautiful, but then you can't just rely and put your happiness on that, because it disappears very fast. And my dear brothers and sisters, our lives are like that, really. Very beautiful. It's something that we can really hang on all the time, but we must remember that we are just custodians to this life, and we have to be ready to give it back whenever it is demanded from us. And this is what St. James talks about today. He's talking to each and everyone. Is a Catholic letter, so it is addressed to the entire church. It's addressed to all the people who read it, that we must be ready at all times, because we do not know the day nor the hour. And that is why the church has made the sacraments of confession so much available to everybody at any time. And we must keep our lives spiritually updated. We must make sure we retain the cassettes to the box, so that whenever it is demanded, we are ready to give it away. We must have our lives ready as well. We must keep our lives not like the people in St. Faustina's vision, who would just suddenly fall without knowing. No, we must keep our lives ready. And that is why we have the sacraments of the Eucharist, we have the other sacraments, we have the prayers, that our rosaries, to keep us really spiritually updated at all times, so that we will not go without being ready. We must be ready at all times. We must live today as if it was our last day. That is why we must keep everything focused on Jesus at all times, and He must be the center of our lives. And therefore, when we make any plans for the future, when we make any plans, even for tomorrow, let's not just say, okay, I'm going to wake up and do this. No. If it is God's will that I wake up, okay, fine, and I'll wake up and do this and that. Everything must be according to His will. And we must therefore continue to center our lives on Him, who is the author of this life. He is the real owner of our lives. And therefore we must be ready to give it back to Him whenever He demands it.